What's going on, guys? What's up? Doing a quick live stream here. This past weekend, I ended up going down to Winston-Salem, North Carolina, with two, three of my buddies. Hadn't seen them in a while. Got a little guy time in there, and we went to a comic book convention because it is the time for the comic book conventions to start. So we got down there, and it was a smaller convention, but it had a lot of great deals. It actually had pretty good crowd all day long. We found some really good stuff. It's one of those few times that I ran across a table, the very last table that Anderson, my buddy Anderson, I talked about. Eric, Eric Breen first. Yes, there you go, man. My buddy Tim said, "Have you checked this guy out?" And it was actually one of the few tables that I just kept going around. A comic fan second. What's going on, guys? It was one of the tables that I just didn't really get around to going to because it always had a crowd there. And I saw it was a bunch of Silver Age books, Bronze Age books. I swear, I think I saw a couple of Golden Age books get pulled up by somebody there. So I figured, oh well, I might be able to afford that. I'll get some good deals. And we hit the guy last. What's up, guys? It's the middle of a work day. This is wild that there's this many people out there. So, hey, what's going on, guys? But what I want to say is there was a guy, and I think his name was Anthony, and he was with his lovely wife. He had a booth, but it was towards the end of the day, and I'd already hit my budget. But I talked to him. He recognized me. He was very polite. He recognized me as Howler Mouse from the channel. And then he also threw out, says that he also watches ETA Nick. This guy watches the quality stuff, if you will. But his name, his website here that we have is Bonafide Comics. Buy, sell, and trade. He is the bonafidecomicsstore.com. So I figured I'd give him a shout out. So let's just do this, get a screenshot there. So there's a guy there who, buy, sell, trades comics. So throw it out there. Yes, on a weekday, my schedule worked out to where I travel that I ended up back home. And if I go on back to work, I'm going to have like 30 minutes. And I've already worked a little bit late this week already on, a Monday here. I got a lot of time that I've put in extra. So anyway, this is just a treat. So anyway, I figured I have company coming over in less than an hour. We're going to make catfish and some dinner and things like that. So I figured I'd show off what I got. Now, almost all the books here until I get to the end were either $1, 50 cents a piece, or three for $1. And I've already sort of organized them. But some of the stuff is 50 cents a piece. And the first thing I want to show that I couldn't believe was 50 cents was this book 3 of 3, Apocrypha. Some Neil Gaiman stories with Mr. Miracle, some early Alex Ross art, Mark Buckingham, all these guys. This was a 3-issue miniseries. And I could not believe this was in a 50-cent bin. You hear that? 50 cent. And with this being Captain Marvel weekend, I'm surprised a lot of people didn't jump out there and get this, right? But a little bit of the art in here from Alex Ross lets you see that it's early stuff by Alex Ross. And I think this came out in 1993. Let me double check that. Excuse me, 1992. So this was pretty cool from Eclipse Comics. This is probably at the tail end of Eclipse before I guess they went bankrupt, and a lot of the rights to a lot of the books went up in the air. Did you hear that, guys? We're invited to dinner. If you like catfish, why not? Why not? Okay. And a couple of months ago, I kind of lost lost track on this one. But for some reason, this obscure character that popped up, she in the comics, this character would have a full page ad of this issue, of this cover, without the title of the book and everything on there. And I think it was a tail end of Jim Lee being on this book or something. But for some reason, I'm just really interested in this, and I want to complete this story. And the book's not worth anything, and I don't know why it's so difficult to find it in the wild. It's no big deal. I may have double dipped here, man. But Wrath of the Dream Queen, messing around in Alpha Flight. We've got, who's this, Nightmare's daughter or something like that. So I've got part 1 and 3 of this little story arc here, and I'll probably end up looking up all her appearances and stuff if I like what I have here. And plus, a couple months ago, I may have already gotten this, but this is one of those covers I really like. I just like the composition that we have there, the detail in the hair. Just seems like the really cool thing. And believe it or not, I've actually seen one or two cosplayers over the year play the Dream Queen. Like I said, basically a throwaway character. I put him up there as Blackfire or Blackheart, the son of Mephisto and stuff like that. The second generation of these, cosmic entity deities, sons and daughters and stuff, right? That nothing was done with. And I really love the comic book ads of this era. This is when John Byrne was slowly coming back to Marvel off of his big Superman run, and he started the great She-Hulk book that he did. And then we had this great John J. Muth and Kent Williams art by the Simonsons, middle of a miniseries in prestige format, which was really a big deal back in the day. This was, back in the day, tomorrow I'm having dinner at a former cabaret that's been repurposed as a hotel. How's that for dinner? That sounds fantastic. And believe it or not, I am a wine drinker a little bit. And that sounds like someplace I would really have a little bit of wine there. The Byrne She-Hulks are great. They're fantastic. They're one of my favorites ever. Have the Havoc and Wolverine mini, the Brazilian edition. Yeah, I've had it over the years off and on. It kind of cracked me up, but I think it was an X-Men. I don't know if it was an X-Men or the Wolverine series. I'm pretty sure it was X-Men. But the way the artist drew Logan here without his mask on, the way he drew the hair and things like that, it was really almost comical. It really was. So in somewhere in a comic that I'm pretty sure Chris Claremont did, he had Wolverine had that style of hair again. And he said, yeah, it looked better on the road, and they moved on. Hey, what's up? Solid 4-string Ben's out there. Shannon's out there. Good to see you on here, man. All right. Good to see you, man. I remember you were just a working man all the time. Good to see you being able to take a break. Okay. So I've already showed a thing. Solid, yeah, since I'm not too far ahead, just to do a recap. Went to a comic book convention for 50 cents. I got Apocrypha number 3. That's a Miracle Man with Neil Gaiman and Alex Ross and stuff. Dream Queen, talked about that from the Alpha Flights. Interesting, that character. And moving on, but I'm always getting reference material, right? I have a short box over here of like DC's Who's Who, the official handbook of the Marvel Universe, several volumes of the Who DC Who's volumes. I have things that Wizard put out of independent comics from the 90s, and they did sort of a Who's Who kind of thing with them. I'm always picking up the binder editions that came out in the 90s and 1990 and 91. I am going to say that I do not like the binder editions of the official Marvel Universe handbook that Marvel put out, but the DC stuff is pretty damn good. But guys, this includes Secret Origins and stuff like that. A lot of people over the years have asked, how do you know so much? And I'm like, well, you just read it and stuff, but it's also what you read where you get just to the point. And I think Secret Origins, I think there's only 50 issues of this. It usually gave you 2. A few issues, I think, gave you 3. Tailings of the origins of characters. And this is one, because of the characters in it, of course, the Spectre and Deadman. By Roy Thomas, Mike Gilbert, Andrew Heffler, and Kevin McGuire, that I always kind of get. And I will probably get a better copy of this at some time, but this was a hole in my collection. These are fantastic. I love these. I really do. I love these. And I probably want to finish the editions. Some of them were, more kind of lackluster and stuff. Oh, cool. Yeah, going to work. Awesome, man. See, I rescued 35 She-Hulks from the Byrne series from a dollar bin last week. Yeah, absolutely. That's one of those things you can't go wrong. That's She-Hulk series. If you go back and just type in Howlermouse, John Byrne, She-Hulk series, that was the video that made this video. That was the video that made this channel pop. That was the one where I got a ton of viewers all of a sudden, just kind of got noticed and started kind of filling the format for them. This is going back to like 2010, 2011 on here or whatever. But that's a series that I've read and reread. It's so much fun to read, man. Love the Secret Origins. Yeah, I did too. And it's one of those, again, that's one of the ones, there's certain issues of that I always kind of pull from. There's a Neil Gaiman issue where I think he did this retelling of Poison Ivy's origin. That one was kind of hard to get in the day. And then they have the Animal Man issue that Grant Morrison did that actually ties into his Animal Man run. So his Animal Run isn't just 1 through 26. It's that Secret Origins issue that completes the real set. A lot of people don't know that. I have 2 of them. I'm always picking it up when I can find it. Some people in the know will get it, you know. Hey, you too. You have a good night too, man. And good luck at work. Be safe. Be safe, Shannon. Okay. Now, one of the things I bought this off the rack back in the day, right? And it's a ha ha funny book. And when the 1 year later hit, which seems like it's almost 10 years, over 10 years ago now, this character came into the Titans, was completely changed, much like the Blue Devil was. But this actually was a hot book for a while, and I was so mad because I had a handful of this series, a handful of this of the series, okay, and I could not believe that this was gone. But it's Blue Devil number 14 from 1985, where we get the first appearance of Kid Devil. Blue Devil gets a funny sidekick. You got to read the story. It's not what you think. And they do an homage here to a Batman Robin cover from back in the day, right? But yeah, he kind of got big for a little bit. Came back as a red little demon and stuff, and had to do some answers. Got caught in some lies and stuff, right? Now I got this for $5. This next one I got for $5, and it is not in the greatest of shape. But $5, I could not walk away from it because I actually already had this Silver Age magazine edition. Okay. And it doesn't have a cover on it. I've carried it around forever. And for some reason, when I saw such a good deal on this, I just went ahead and got it. Maybe I'll flip it. I don't know. I know I can put it on eBay and get more. But the one I had that I've carried around, the front cover is in much better condition. But like I said, it didn't have the back cover. And I read it and reread it as a kid in a few. But it's the Spectacular Spider-Man. I think this is number 2. They only made a few of these. And it's got a painted cover by John Romita. Now, this story is put in magazine form, and I can't believe it's actually approved by the Comic Book Authority, but there was a big hoo-ha in here because Spider-Man gets hit with some goblin gas and absolutely trips balls. And a lot of people were saying that it was LSD. Now, this is the late 60s, of course, all right? Timothy Leary, acid, psychotropics, things like that were going on and stuff, right? So, yeah, I grabbed this. It's a great deal. How's the lighting in here? I've got the outside is what I'm using here. Anyway, I got this, a Spectacular Spider-Man. I swear I think this is number 3. But I love it because it's a freaking painted cover by John Romita. I would love to have seen some of these older guy cats, OGs, if you will, do some more painted editions. Good stuff there. $5. And like I said, the biggest thing with it is that the back cover is taped together. It's still taped. This is from an era where, you know, of course, people read their comics over and over, and every now and then you had some people that would always take care of their stuff. Good stuff in here. Okay, now this is one of those books I will buy every time I see it, right? I'm an Incredible Hulk fan like anybody out there, but one of the biggest things that I'm a fan of when it comes to the Hulk, and I looked up, I found the trade where they got all of these stories together. But Harlan Ellison came in on the Hulk back in the day and did a story where the Hulk more or less gets shrunk and goes into a microverse and all this stuff, and he meets a character named Jarella. So the Jarella was the Hulk's love, not Bruce Banner's love, right? And he would visit every now and then. And it had like wizardry and sci-fi, and there's a definite storyline going through there. And the last time I really saw it acknowledged, and I could be totally wrong, is going back to the '80s with Peter David. It seems like in the 350s, where Hulk went back and saw the remnants of this microverse, if you will. But this is a Dave Cockrum cover, and this is one of those books I remember from when I was a kid. I absolutely loved this cover. And for some reason, it had this Hyborian Age feel for me, you know, when it comes to like Conan and stuff. It's just so savage. He's got the monsters, and he's saving Jarella there. But 202, this is probably my 3rd copy of this, but I got it for a great price, and this is in the best shape out of all the copies that I have. I will pick up anything that has to do with the Jarella storyline that sort of would pop up every couple years in the Hulk, right? Now I got this off of that last table. And this guy gave me all 3 of these books for $10. He would say, whip out a book, and I'll tell you how much it is. The guy's just playing around. The guy looked like he could have been a basketball coach or something. The guy was well over 6 feet. And he had a deep voice when he's talking. He was just having some fun there. He had tons of boxes with this stuff in it. I also picked up this one. This is my 2nd or 3rd of this one. I'm a huge Flash Gordon fan, and always when it has Al Williamson. So this is from the late 60s from King Comics. Um, this is an upgrade for me, and I cannot believe what great shape this stuff is in. I will pick up this stuff all day long. And then he also gave me this, the Superboy in the Legion of Superheroes number 234. Not so much is it a key book or a classic, but I love my Legion of Superheroes, and this is in phenomenal shape. And there's a big thing with the Legion. I don't know what it is, but apparently they love making composite superheroes. You had the villain composite Superman Batman, which was basically a janitor who had a bunch of sci-fi statues of the Legion of Superheroes blow up beside of them. And of course, the Legion statues were made by a scientific ray that not only duplicated what the Legion looked like, but inside it duplicated their powers. So he used the shape changing abilities of that Durlan chameleon boy to look like Batman and Superman directly in half. You know, and then something's happened in this one where four of the Legion of Superheroes, Shrinking Violet, Colossus Boy, Lightning Lad, and Saturn Girl, apparently all get turned into one big creature. So you got to love that stuff. I got one more here to show. See what we got here. Hey, Martin Goodman went with Stan Lee's idea to do magazines, but he didn't like going against the code. That's why the Spectacular magazine went color and needed the CCA seal. Yeah, that comics code, man. I'm really back and forth with did it do more good than bad because it really made these guys pull and become original and be creative, going around the code to make some good storytelling. Hey, just got here. What's up with the comic over your right shoulder? Am I right? Oh, this one? Yeah, I'm going through some boxes here, and I bought that right off the stand. I actually found one probably about 10 years ago at a flea market for $1. Yeah, I just stuck it out there a little bit. I'll be putting it back with the miniseries and stuff. I was kind of looking at it to see what kind of shape it's in, because like I said, I bought that one off the rack. It's just kind of hanging out. Okay. So the other book he gave me, and a lot of this stuff, the stuff that I really truly get excited about, I know it's not going to blow anybody away. I'm sure it has its fans out there. Hope we can find each other and stuff, man. But this is from 1963, and it's beat up. It's a black cover also. This is number issue 311 of Adventure Comics, and it has the date stamp on it that I love. But this is a story that I read in the little digest versions of Adventure that came out in the early 80s. And this is when the Legion of Superheroes, Substitute Heroes, declared war on the Legion of Superheroes. Now, I realize that this sort of gets into the mentality of children, the early age clubhouses and rules and fans. But the Legion of Superheroes was something that even I think I discovered them when I was like 7, years old or something. But I've always been a fan of them. Something about them resonated. They were the weirdos, the offshoots, they weren't the popular kids, back in the day and everything. And they were always doing good. And Polar Boy was just super optimistic about everything, and I thought they were cool. You had Stone Boy, who just his whole power was he just turned to stone, and that was it. But Keith Giffen played around with him in the '80s and did some great stuff. And then Jeff Johns, when he started bringing back the Legion in Adventure Comics, God, how long ago was it? Like 2006 or 7 or something. He did some really fun stuff with him. And there's a one-shot special that I think everybody from the '80s that everybody should get of the Legion of Superheroes. There's also a DC Comics Presents where Superman is getting ready to go time travel into the future, and he ends up dragging Ambush Bug with him to the year 3000 and stuff, right? But this was like these Silver Age stories. I really enjoy them. My favorite DC Silver Age stuff are Legion stories, of course, and of Superman with all the Kryptonian stories and all the different kryptonite and all that stuff. Got to sneeze, man. You can smell the love on these. Hey, Luther, loved your recent stamp book video. Luther, I will check that out. Cool. Scott Connors here. What's up, man? What's going on? All right. So something I did an upgrade on because I collected these books when I was a kid. I have no shame about it. And this is actually pretty cool because these covers are an homage to the Justice League, Justice Society All-Star Squadron books that came out around 82. around Justice League of America 207, 208, 209, something like that, in All-Star Squadron, like, I don't know what it was, 14, 15, 16 or something. But around the same time, Captain Carrot, and that is the miniseries, that is the crossover event with All-Star Squadron and Justice League, where I kind of looked around my room um, and realized I'm a comic book collector. You know, I was like 9 or something, right? But at the same time, this was going on. But we had Captain Carrot and the Amazing Zoo Crew beating the Just a Lot of Animals. And what's really weird about this is that in his civilian identity, our Captain Carrot is a comic book artist, and he would draw Super Squirrel and just a lot of animals and stuff, right? So they would turn around and we would have these covers. And what's really odd is that they really are hard to find in the wild, and I think it's exactly because of the covers, the homage to that. So, you know, some of the characters they have on here was just fantastic, man. Amazu instead of Amazo, Shaggy Dog instead of the Shaggy Man, Feline Faust instead of Felix Faust, Armadillo, who knows who that's supposed to be. Um, they had so many. They had so many characters in the Silver Age of DC that started with the letter that ended with the letter O. It's hard to tell. Digger O'Doom and Doctor Hoot, which I think is just fantastic. But yeah, a lot of fun in here. A lot of fun. One of the more popular issues of Captain Carrot and his Amazing Zoo Crew, and I don't know if it still holds up, was like around issue 8 or 9, because they had a version of Conan. I think his name was Bowser or something like that. I don't know. But that was actually kind of hard to get. Whenever I do see it now, I feel like I should be grabbing an extra one, right? Now, one of the this really blows my mind. For some reason, I have to buy this comic when I see it. Sometimes I feel like I'm in conspiracy theory and I'm Mel Gibson, and I keep, and it's right there with, like, I have to buy this, just like he was buying Catcher in the Rye, right? But I have no idea why. But it's issue 13. I think because when this came out, nobody was really buying Alpha Flight unless they were a John Byrne fan. And then all of a sudden, when Wolverine popped up on the cover like this, it was gone. Everybody bought it. I was one of the people buying Alpha Flight because it was a John Byrne, and it was hard to get off the stands consecutively. Yes, Alpha Flight. And all of a sudden, he pops up on this, and I would see people in school and on the bus holding this up, and I'm like, you don't even collect comics. Yeah, so I don't know why, but this is one of the ones. If I see it and it's cheap, I'll grab it. It's not worth anything. Canadians bought quite a bit of Alpha Flight. Awesome. I can see why. Now, there's a story behind this one that was kind of cool, but I'm going to give you the bottom line. You know, not really try to exaggerate it. But I was going through the 50-cent bin, and it always blows my mind when I see Valiant Comics when Jim Shooter was still there in a 50-cent or a dollar bin. Right? I mean, like, to me, that's just really odd, because that is the era of Valiant that, you know, should be worth tons of money, in my opinion, right? So I picked this book up, and this dude walks up, and he has his girlfriend with him, and he's like, "Do they have any more in there?" And he's really eyeballing this. And I'm like, "Nah, man, but if I see any more, I'll let you know." And I look over, and he's got Rye #0. And that's how I say it, like Samurai. That's where I'm getting the pronunciation. Maybe it's Ray, but I'm saying Rye #0. But he had this white hoodie with the cover of that, and that's the silhouette of Bloodshot from the cover of Ride #0, or, you know, whatever it was, Bloodshot #0. Watch me go blank. Bloodshot #0 or Ride. I think it's Ride #0. Then I kind of asked him where he was got it, and he was like a huge fan of this character. What a lot of people don't know is that silhouette on the cover of Ride #0 is actually a Mike Zeck Punisher. You know, that they just used the silhouette of. They admitted it. I've got it, but it was here's an issue #5 of Ray #0. There's only like 8 of these, and I always grab spares and stuff when I see it. This is one of those underrated series from Valiant back in the day. This was really good. Jim Shooter wanted to expand the Magnus universe, the world there, explore it more. Of the year 3000, you know, and he was like, "Well, what's going on in the other?" You know, that was North Am. You know, they stopped calling using countries, and they just sort of went by the continents. You know, it's the North Am section. So he went around the world and wanted to show what was going on with Japan and everything. They had their own things going on there. Alpha Flight was a regular backup strip over here. Unfortunately, they stopped publishing around issue 51 and 52. They only published the Guardians Return and a Wolverine special. Yeah, the Alpha Flight issue, that sounds like, if I remember right, around the time that Bill Mantlo had turned around and almost said, I think they might have retconned it, but they sort of started saying that North Star and Ariel were not mutants. They were half fairy, you know, they brought in Loki and stuff like that. So I don't know if you really missed anything or not. I'm at work. I wanted to pop in and say hi. What's up, Sergeant Bats? Yes, Bats is here. Nice, man. Paulo Costo was the one talking about the Alpha Flight stuff I just mentioned on, right? Like I said, another fill-in issue, Warren Ellis on Stormwatch, which this run would lead into his authority. He took over Stormwatch at Image, ran, you know, with issue 37. He ran with the book until issue 50, got a new number 1 that ran for 11 issues. Started killing off these characters in a Stormwatch meets Aliens or Wildcats meets Aliens or something one shot. I have it in trade. And some of Ellis's better work, I think, because it was just fast and loose. And then this led into the Authority, where none of these characters, I don't know, I don't think any of these characters really survived Stormwatch, even though they were starting to get introduced and stuff, right? So I just got issue 40, 46. Now I have them all in trade, and I had a buddy send me a whole bunch of Ellis's, you know, Authority and Stormwatch stuff. So it's kind of cool. I'm always kind of filling in the issues. Yeah, Surly Tim is out there. What's up, man? Now I'm always picking up Crisis on Infinite Earth books from back in the day. And the problem is that not a lot of the books, it turns out, had Crisis on Infinite Earths as a banner across them. And this is one of the ones that supposedly didn't, but this is Omega Men number 33 prestige format. And now that I've gotten it out, even though this was 50 cents, this thing has a lot of wear on it. So I will definitely one day be upgrading this one. But the Sean McManus work in here is just amazing. He's one of my favorite artists after seeing him do some fill-in work um, on Swamp Thing back in the day. Anyway, apparently this is supposed to be a Crisis on Infinite Earth thing, but the Omega Man I'm going to end up really collecting because I've already got quite a few issues built up. Right, here's the last issue, number 38, and this alien cracks me up. What they got by with in the 80s here. So this is from 1986, and what do we have? We have a you know, alien that looks like a penis. I haven't seen such a blatant penis as an alien since the Zygons on Doctor Who. Um, but you know, even he has one eye, which blows my mind here. So, but from what I understand about this series and the Omega Men, all the heroes from issue number 1, they're all pretty much dead and been replaced as the series goes on. That by the time we get to the last issue, number 38, they're all gone. You know, and it had strong ties with the Teen Titans. What we got here? I actually had to do work at work for 15 minutes, cut my stream listening. Working at work, Eric, annoys me when I have to do that. Ain't that the truth? Da, 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 da. Omega Man 34 and 35 are listed as Crisis Crossovers 2. Look, find a connection, neither of them. Yeah, I have the other one. I think I had those other two. Let me see what issue that was. That's number 33, and you said 34 and 35. Yeah, I do believe I have those. And actually, here's number 34 as we were speaking here. So I'm positive I have 35. But yeah, this one also, like I said, it had ties to the Teen Titans because Kara Starfire, she is her race, her, you know, the planet she is from is in the reaches of the Empire or whatever it's called in here and stuff like that. You know, part of the reason she came to Earth was because of some wars that was going on. So it'd be interesting to see this. Now I know people who are huge fans of it, and the Omega Man first popped up in Green Lantern, and then they had ties to the Teen Titans, and there was a crossover here and there. You know, caused some problems. Now this is one of the only reason I got this one is because back in the day I would see the advertisement for it, and it reminded me of one of those ambush covers that you would see by Joe Kubert or Nick Cardy on, you know, on our heroes, Sergeant Rock and the war comics and stuff, where they'd be, you know, thinking everything's all right and they're about to get ambushed by. We saw that moment right when they thought they were safe, but we could see what was leading up to that next moment where they'd be ambushed and stuff. But so Mega Man number 32 with I think that's Felicity. This cover was just all over some of the books that I got. You know, in the advertisements and stuff. So I finally have it. I'm just kind of now I'm curious what happens, especially now that I found out that the Omega Men didn't have any of the characters survive. You know, they were killed and replaced as they went on. You know, that's what I've been told. What do we got here? Been slowly building a run of the Omega Men as of late. They're collecting 31, 33 in the giant box set for Crisis. Nice. I've been hearing about that, but I've spent so much time over the years kind of keeping an eye out and checking my list of Crisis crossovers. I really don't know if I want to get that box set or not because I already have a bunch of them. Now, these issues here that I'm showing, number 4, number 10, and number 9, and number 5. Let me get them in some kind of order. I already have number 3. Number 3 of the Omega Men, there's number 6. Of the Omega Men was the first appearance of Lobo. Lobo was a character that Keith Giffen said that he made as satire parody of like the violence in comics and the way things were going in comics, and couldn't believe that the character can't not understand why the character took off and became super popular. So I have number 3. I also have his second appearance, number 4. All right. I mean, just a few years ago, these books could be found anywhere. The only issue that was really worth any, hard to find or worth any money was that first appearance of him, Lobo. So here's number 9. Number 5 is the second appearance. I have number 6. I don't think he's in it. These were 50 cents a piece, 3 for $1, maybe. Maybe I'm at the 3 for $1 place now. I'm not sure. And number 10, these are all the early appearances of Lobo. So I have the 1st through 4th to 5th appearances of Lobo. If he ever pops up in a movie or something, I've heard rumblings. And while I was there, this was like 33 cents. So I went ahead and got number 2. So I have 1, 2, 3, and then scatterings now and stuff, right? Which is pretty good. Now, here's a book. I finally got around to reading some sequentially. And I mentioned this book weeks ago, or maybe before I took my big long break. Anyway, but I was saying I was really curious in it. And I did pick up a few issues when it came out. These were direct market only or at bookstores like Walden Books back in the day, which we didn't have where I live. And when they would pop up in like in a Superman annual or something like that going on, I would be a little bit lost. And then I would get issue like number 6 and number 9. Didn't know who anybody was, didn't know what their powers were, was getting frustrated with it. And I was like, I knew this was good stuff. And it really felt like a cash grab trying to connect it to the Legion of Superheroes of the Future, because it was started out as Legion 89, Legion 90, 91. Well, I've got quite a bit of the issues super cheap, and I've got to read them. And right now, where I'm at with it, I'm really having to ask if James Gunn had read this series and pulled from it to get Guardians of the Galaxy, the movie. It's got the same tone. You know what I mean? It's got kind of a little bit of the same humor in places. It's got some of the same seriousness to it where it needs to be. But so far, the issues I've read where it was Alan Grant and Keith Giffen is some good stuff. I mean, it's really good and really cheap. What we got here? The latest incarnation of the team, I think we're talking about Omega Man, can be found in the current run of Supergirl. Very cool story. That's from Shirley Tim's Fun Bunker 2.0. Nice. I've heard a few things, and I think Tom King or somebody had a little bit of a series going. It ended up getting canceled. I can't say that I've ever been a huge Omega Man fan. You know what I mean? Omega Man. But I've known it's always had its fans, sort of. And that's what's really cool with some of the DC stuff more than what I've seen with Marvel. There's certain books and certain characters that keep a fan following, But anyway, here's issue 22 of Legion 90 at this point. And they're bringing back Lady. Apparently, this was, I don't know if she's already been in the series or not, but this is Lady Quark, who is the sole survivor of her Earth after Crisis Life in Earth. She was like a queen with Lord Bolt. But what I really liked about the 90s is that we had Shocker, we had Nightbreed, and in this one we had stuff for Predator 2 that was coming out with the movies. They had little movie pullouts in these, which I think are freaking cool, To me, that was sort of the fun of the comics back in the day and stuff, right? But we got that issue. We have issue 25. And the next issue was dedicated to this character, Stealth, having an alien baby on a planet, which was brutal if you just watch it. She got cased in goo and everything. It was awful. I already have down that I have this issue, but I'm so sick of trying to track them down. I think I have a stack of Dan Barrington work that I've stuck on a shelf or in a box somewhere, so I ended up separating this. I don't feel like going through my boxes. So since these were 3 for $1 or 50 cents a piece, I just grabbed this one. Dan Barrington came on and did some covers. They brought in Captain Comet, which is one of the things I kind of laughed about, but this is after Giffen had left. I think Giffen plotting and stuff had a huge effect on it. Alan Grant and Barry Kitson. Adam Kubert did this cover, and I really do not like this cover at all. It's a rush job. It's thin. I know it's funny that we're getting a nut shot on Lobo. And the good thing about this is that there is an issue of this Legion series. When I was reading about Lobo in the Justice League International books, it was mentioned that if you cut him, each drop of blood will grow into another Lobo. Well, this actually showed it. I found a story with a few panels of a legion of Lobos running around. So I guess somebody had cut them, and we finally got to see that power. And I'm pretty sure Viral Docs ended up neutering him where it wouldn't happen. Issue 32. Now, this is where the book stopped getting a little bit of a buzz, and it had its audience. I mean, going back to the day. And to give you some reference, this is when we were still getting some cool movies coming out. The Addams Family movie. That was an excellent thing. Surly Tim is right there. The Legion was an amazing title. Paulo Costo. Omega Men's current incarnation was done by Tom King. I like the new Vega political system, but Kyle Rayner was a basket case in that series. They pulled Kyle Rayner into the Omega Men, and Tom King's handling it. Tom King, I swear he uses comics as his free therapy. You know. Okay, awesome. 91, we got some Kevin McGuire covers. He did quite a few covers on them. I hope you guys can see this. Can't catch the lighting just right. Okay, and like I said, the Lobo looks like, just by going, I haven't read this far up, but it looks like Lobo is really becoming very centric to the cover. I think it was around this time that we got the first Lobo miniseries called The Last Caesarian by Simon, and got introduced to Simon Bisley. Yeah, here we go. More Legion stuff, playing around with the aliens. And like I said, I swear this book has that Guardians of the Galaxy feel. Lobo versus the Iceman. We'll see what this is all about. Then we got Burl Docs front and center. This would be like Brainiac 2, you know. He's apparently sort of a clone son of the original Brainiac, or whatever they did with him after Crisis. Yeah. Number 58, Mark Waid apparently came on there. So hopefully this is the Mark Waid who was still sane back in the day. This is 1993, before he really kind of took off with his Flash run that made him famous. Yeah. More Barry. Is that a Barry Kitson cover? Yeah, Brereton. A Brereton cover. God, that glare. Been doing this for almost 10 years. You figure I'd know how to manipulate the light. Yeah, Kitson, Waid, Stokes. We're into 93 now. 63. Apparently, we get Lobo and Superman popping up. I don't know. I mean, they're not showing his face, but you know, years later in the Superman cartoon, when Bruce Timm brought it to light, we had Lobo versus Superman. Sorry, your name isn't on the guest list. This is what I'm saying about having that Guardians of the Galaxy feel. You know, yeah, I mean, that almost reminds me of the monster they're fighting on the opening of the second Guardians of the Galaxy movie. The Doctor will see you now. Tom Pyre's on there now. I think it's, you know, all this place. And my buddy Tim Anderson gave me this book. I told him I wanted to get some of the annuals. There's a storyline going with the Green Arrow and Question books, and I can't remember if there was somebody else in it, called Fables. And he gave me one. He gave me part 3 of it. So yeah, I want to check out this Dennis Cohen, Denny O'Neil stuff that was going on back in the day with the Question. All right, guys, that's it for that comic book convention. It was actually fun to go to. It was a small convention, but a lot of fun. I wished I'd seen that last table first. I probably would have spent all my money there. Like I said, I have a budget in mind. And I'm still trying to decide what conventions I'm going to this summer and what not. I've got some things going on where I kind of need to budget my money to make big life choices and stuff, as we always do. I'm also thinking about getting back into archery, and I'm definitely going to get back into fishing. I'll do a few things. It's getting, the weather's nice, and I've already got a list of hikes that I want to do and some waterfalls I want to go visit. For some reason, this is the year of, if I'm going to go hiking and camping, I'm going to be near a waterfall. There's a ton around where I live that are all within 30-minute drive to maybe 2 hours. You know, it's time to get around and see this stuff, you know. Been hiking off and on for years. And actually, when I was about 22, I spent 21 or 22. with all the camping that I did, including the military stuff that I was doing, I probably spent about 7 months in the woods and stuff. So, yeah, it's going to be active this summer, especially where I'm getting older and I need to do this stuff while I'm still at that age I can do it, you know. But that's about it, guys. 15 people right now at the peak of this. Thumb up this video, please. Share it, Twitter it, subscribe, hit that bell. I might do another live show here pretty soon. And it's been great, man. All right. Thanks for everybody popping in. All right, guys. Like I said, thumb it up, share it, put it on Twitter, social media and stuff. Let people know there's a place you can come to still talk about comics. Have a good day, you guys. Yeah, later, Barrick. All right, later, guys.